Oh, it doesn't end. You know, they're all big babies. Look at mine right here, my big baby. Just giving people a chance to jump on, say hi. Okay, there we go. Gav, hi. Hi, Kathy. Hello. 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 What a day. Has this been a crazy ass week? Hi, Windsor, Colorado. I'm just gonna say hi to everybody. I know, I have decided that no matter what you do, there are going to be like people that go, oh, I can't stand what she's saying. Black Rose 11, rock on. I just special thanks to my mods because I couldn't really do this without you guys. So see me at the beach. Anybody new here? Anybody like just jumping on and going, well, let's see. It's Tor Dog. Oh, I like that. Tor Dog. Amelia, you got a new name for me. Morning, Tori. Is it morning? Where are you? You're watching Live Abuse Free. She's great. Okay. Hey, Barbara. Welcome. Yes. Let's see. Oh, cool. Kate, you got the cards. Yeah. So I'm going to be going to New York. I actually leave on Sunday, and I wanted to just fill you in. And then I had some really, in the middle of the night, I had some thoughts about astrology and Shanann, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I've got to tell everybody, So I just want to fill you in. I leave for New York on Sunday. I've got like some cool meetings. I'm also going to meet my friend Duty Ron. That's right, Mr. Duty Ron, if you know him. It's Dutyrron. And if you don't know him, he is a hoot and a half. He's a retired detective from New York. He's got his own channel. Please go over and check him out. You will love him. We've become friends through YouTube. He's a YouTube pal, and we've decided we're going to do some kind of live together when I'm in New York. So it should be really, really fun. And we're going to talk crime and intuition and all that fun stuff. So, but I am going to go to New York. I'm going to be there for there's a, it's called Readers Studio. It's a big event for tarot readers. I've never been before, and I'm really excited about it. And so, okay, so let's talk about Shanann. Let's talk about her for a minute. I just want to say that I was sitting there and I was doing some math in my head. That's why I don't sleep. And all of a sudden it hit me that Colorado is a Capricorn state. It's Capricorn. It's Capricorn. And I remember a friend of mine who's like a real astrologer. Oh, you're Sag rising now. Oh, by the way, let's see. Oh, I hope he doesn't get murdered in jail. Thank you for that. Yeah, just, here's the thing. I don't wish anybody harm, but let's talk about Shanann. Okay, so she was a Capricorn. And also, I don't know if you all know this, just from astrology point of view, the Pluto went into Capricorn, and it's a 12-year cycle. And Pluto is it's the phoenix rising from the ashes. It's basically total destruction and total rebirth. And Pluto went into Capricorn somewhere in the last presidency. And I forget, I think it's toward the end. And forgive me for not knowing the exact dates. But, things that happen with Pluto, just to give you an idea. Now, this isn't one of them, but Pluto causes and creates huge upheaval. And it takes about 12 to 20 years to go through a sign. So it's not going to happen every week. But when it hits a sign, it creates a huge upheaval. Colorado is a Capricorn state. In other words, its birth sign is Capricorn. And I remember an astrologer friend telling me that. Now, Pluto is in Capricorn for how many more years? Like another 12 years. Shanann's a Capricorn. Truth bumps. So what I feel is happening energetically is that anything that is kind of like, and you remember the phoenix, right? It burns everything to the ground and then it rises again. You know, when we look at who Shanann is to us, that she has become, in some ways, this person that's really alive to us because we've seen her on videos and we knew her in a sense. And she is a Capricorn. And here it is, that kind of like idea of death but not really dying. So in many ways, what I'm seeing in this is that it's like she's resurrecting in that sense energetically, because we're seeing the Capricorn energy, which is lasting, it's hard work. It really, and here's the funny thing, and I know a lot of people, I want to say Pluto, I know people are going to say, oh, but you know, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. But here's the thing I want to tell you about Saturn in astrology. Saturn, astrologically, people always go, oh my gosh, it's Saturn. Ah! You know, Saturn rewards hard work. So in English, what that means is if you work hard and you are a Capricorn, or you are, you know, it's, you know how they talk about Saturn returns. If you're someone who works hard, Saturn returns won't be hard. I mean, they'll be challenging, but you'll be able to get through it and you'll be better because of it. And just so you know, Saturn returns in our charts happen every 27 to 30 years. So it'll hit you hopefully 3 times in your life, but definitely twice, between the ages of 27 and 32, somewhere in there, sometimes a little younger. And then it'll hit you again in, I want to say, it'll hit you again around 57. You know, it could be 55 to 60, depending upon how Saturn's moving. Now, the reason I say that is it suddenly hit me, and I've got to look at his chart again. You know, we're looking at the fact that, and thank you, Barbara, for the super chat. Oh my gosh, that means so much to me. You have no idea. Thank you. And I'm going to read your comment in a minute. But one of the things I want to say about this that I think is super important is that when we look at where Saturn was, I can almost guarantee that, and I'm thinking this, that Chris Watts either just came through his Saturn return or he was in it. And I'm not sure where he is. I have to look at his chart again, which I will look at while I'm talking to you in a minute. But the reason I'm sharing this with you, and the reason that's important, is because Saturn is like, if you don't do the work you're supposed to do, it's going to kick your ass from here to high noon. I am not kidding. Let me look at, thank you so much, Barbara Nealon. I appreciate that. And she says, I love your wisdom and watch all the time. I never make a live, so I wanted to say hi and show the love. Thank you, Barbara. I'm a Sag. Shine like Shanann. Love it. Thank you so much, Barbara. Appreciate it. And yes, I did hear the sound of a child giggling when the canine search was going on. Who said that? Red like wine. And you know what? It's really funny. Somebody asked me about that, and I went, there are lots of dolls on the ground in there. I mean, I'm not surprised if the dog hit a doll that went, because it did sound like a doll going off. So, you know, the conspiracy theory stuff. Let me tell you, and I'm going to be upfront with all of you. And I thank you for mentioning that, Red Like One. I really appreciate it. Because, you know, I'll tell you if I think something's woo-woo. I really will. I'll go, okay, that's woo-woo. And I really feel like there's something here about Capricorn, Saturn, and Pluto, because this particular family has had such a huge impact on all of us. And remember, that becomes a very life-changing experience, right? So one of the things we're looking at here is that massive movement of Capricorn energy, Saturn energy, and Pluto, which is changing generations. Hold on one second. Thank you, Tara. I want to say Shanann Shanann. Hold on, I'm going to say it. Shanann. I hope I said it right. Hi, Tori. Your chat's always uplift me. Gavin is absolutely adorable. Love him and love you. I love him too. He's a cutie pie. And yes, under duress, I am going to do a Gavin mug. Everybody's been asking for one, so it's going to be like, you know, probably the 5 phases of Gavin, you know, paws in the air, like, you know, whatever. I'll put something up, but I just thought that was really funny. So thank you very much for that, Tara. I appreciate the super chat. So what I'm saying is that this energy in the air, this kind of like, it's all hitting us, right? Now, remember something else that's going on right now. Saturn, I've got Saturn in Capricorn, guys, so I'm in my Saturn return. Woo! Okay. And that's like, it can be fun and it can be horrifying. But the good news is that all the truth comes out. The bad news is the truth comes out. So here's the thing that's going on, though. With Saturn in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn, what's beginning to happen is these very powerful outer planets have outer societal ramifications. And what that means for us, for the layman, if you will, is remember that we're mostly water, and that we're affected by the planet. We're affected by the movement of the planets. We're affected by the moon. So when we look at all of this, one of the things that, and the reason I'm sharing this with you, is when we look at how the planets are moving around us, we have to take into account that these are big societal changes. And so old ideas are being torn down. Almost everything around us is just what the old is now new, what's new is now old. And remember something about Capricorn. Capricorn, the sign itself, if that's your sun sign, Capricorn is old when you're young and young when you're old. And what I find very interesting about this is one of the things that people don't realize is the Catholic Church is very tied to the reading of the stars. Now, the very first pope had a walking cane that actually had the astrological signs on it. Now, for us, that also becomes important because churches are being burned. We're seeing a lot of that phoenix rising up. And I think that the uprising, if you will, started with this kind of phony, if you look at a lot of what's going on, things are being exposed for the shams they are. You know, people that like were so righteous are now going, oh, I guess that isn't so right. And people that were like just not doing anything are suddenly like they're coming to the forefront. And I want to talk about, I want to also mention some of the things that I got a really great note from somebody on on YouTube. And I wish I wish I could remember the person's name. Thank you, Black Rose 11. I'm so jazzed you're here. Let's see. I just want to check in. I know Gavin has his own set of fans. It really is. Okay. So the thing I want to say, hold on one second. Okay. So a couple things that are really coming forward to me. It's so funny you mentioned 666 because the other day I went to pay a bill online and I owed 666 and I went, no, and I added another $1 just because I didn't want any numerical kind of mojo. You know, just the old thing of like my mother used to say, okay, she would bless the property. I'm not kidding. My mother was a huge Catholic and she would like throw salt around the property and bless it. And I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, but the reason I'm sharing all this with you is because I think we're going to see a bigger opening coming. And one of the beautiful things about the phoenix rising from the ashes is that what has, and I think you guys know this already, it's like the forest fires. Fires in a forest is natural. They have to burn and the roots char so new forest, new life can come up. And I'm getting truth bumps. Oh, I threw my glasses on the floor. Hold on. I'm getting truth bumps. Hi, guys, as I say this to you, which is that, you know, if we look at the whole thing with Shanann being a Capricorn and how, and I don't know how else to say it, but that girl was on fire. Do you know what I mean? She was really hurling through space at such a fantastic, like the speed of love. You know, I really have to say, as I look back at some of her stuff, I really want to just say it was so inspiring to watch how much she loved her children and what a great mom she was. And I can honestly say, if, you know, truthfully, if you're not inspired by her, then you might not be, I don't know, I got to check your pulse is what I'm saying. So let me just take a peek and see, thought our topic was about space. Nope, it's not. Let's see. I do the same thing, blessing my home. Yeah. Yeah, we're pretty topic fluid, Indigo. I think that's a good point. One of the things we are talking about is we're talking about astrological signs, and we're talking about the idea that and I hadn't thought about this until the other day when, as I mentioned earlier, that one of my besties is an astrologer, and she does place astrology. Like, that's really intense stuff. Like, where you're living can change your life energetically. Now, I believe that anyway, because it changes your supermarket, it changes your environment, But once you change your energy, right? Once you spin into a different energy, once you move your place, your coordinates energetically change. So the thing I want to say is that Shanann, as a Capricorn, in a Capricorn state, was really, if you will, thriving. She was really in her element. And part of the importance of that is that when we look at the more she shined, the more it disturbed Chris Watts. And I think that that's going to get even, let me see, I don't know, does my friend have a website? No, it's funny. It's like, I got to tell you, she's really funny. She's the angriest woman in America. I love her. She's my angry friend, and she's always like, no, I don't want to, but she's brilliant. Do you know that? That friend you have that's like, and when I say this to you, I had a party a few years ago, and she was sitting in the room, right? And I said to this friend of mine I was having a party, and this guy comes in, he goes, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. And I said, don't talk to her. I said, I'm warning you right now. She's like a little snake, right? She'll bite you. And he was like, wow, he's like enthralled. And I'm like, and she was reading a book. Now, this is a friend of mine who would come over and just read my astrology books. Okay. She said, I don't really want to talk to anybody. I said, all right. So she would sit there, and I don't know what it was, but when I have my Libra friends, we just sit and eat. So I would always cook for her. I don't know why that is, but you know how some people you'll sit down and cook with, you know what I mean? Or you'll always shop with that person, or you'll always gossip with that person. That's because who you become astrologically together is a combination. And I'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, I'm going to finish the story. So my friend is sitting there, and she's reading her book. She's reading one of my books. She was sitting right by my bookshelf. And I warned him, and I said, just don't. So he goes over and says, hey. And she goes, she's reading their book, and he goes, I see you're reading. And she goes, no. He's like, what? She goes, I don't want to talk to you. I want to read. Okay. And that's it. And it was like, she was a Mercury Scorpio too. So she'd be like, because when they don't want to talk to you, they don't want to talk to you. But I just thought it was really funny. He walked over and he went, yeah, she is like really angry. You were right. And I go, yeah. And yet when you get her on that like fabulous conversation stuff, she's brilliant. But she's one of those people that would like call me at 3 a.m. and go, did you know that Colorado is Capricorn? You'd probably get along there because your moon's in Capricorn. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So that's how I know. And it's funny, what I was going to say, though, is how others see us is often a combination of their sign and our sign. So when we look at a composite chart, and a composite means if I think somebody on here said they were a Virgo. So let's see. It's okay. So the idea is that I'm trying to think of how to put it. Okay, let's say I'm a Sagittarian, right? And let's say somebody in this call is an Aquarian, right? When you take both of our signs together, what happens is the two charts, it's kind of like an overlay, and they combine. So we become someone else. It's a very odd thing, but I'm going to explain this. What happens is it's called a composite chart. And when I say that, it means like, if Amelia and I put our charts together, we might be together a Virgo. So you would look at us sitting together and go, wow, they're really coordinated and organized and neat and put together. So we see couples based on their combined chart. So you may see this couple that, she's private and he's like, you know, he just goes and golfs, right? But when they're out in public, they're like party hounds. And it can be because they're two signs that who they become together is different than who they are individually. So this becomes very important when we look at this particular Watts case and the underlying energy that's going on. So I really was thinking about that. And I was like, oh my God, I want to get on and tell you all this because I know I usually do my Friday, the end of week wrap up, and I'm not so sure I can tomorrow because I'm going to be crazy packing to go to NYC. Mary, yeah, Saturn return. It's been an intense 4 months. I'm ready for the new chapter and had some hope today. Yes, you did. Part of that, by the way, Mary, and for everyone listening, is Jupiter just went retrograde. Now, I know people go retrograde planets. They're bad. Ooh. No, actually, Jupiter is expansion and luck. And that's why, by the way, for those of you who are Sagittarians out there, we do the dumbest things, okay? And then but the good thing about the reason Jupiter's our ruler is because we get plucked out of the dumb things we do, okay? For some reason, sometime in our life, we will be kissed by luck. It's just boom, it's a lucky sign. Lucky planet. Now, Jupiter went retrograde. And again, in English, just to break it down for everybody, what that means is it's a chance to redo lucky circumstances. It's a chance to go back and see where we were stopped and expand where we were. So I just want to take a second and just, I like to do this, especially when I'm doing my live chats, and I like to shout out to my moderators because honestly, we would not be able to do this if it wasn't for them because they keep it clean. Black Rose 11, thank you so much. And please, everyone, she's right. Please do subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button. And when you're on any live feed, unless you don't like the person, it's different, but definitely hit the thumbs up. It actually helps in the algorithms with YouTube, and any comments you make also help. Like, you know, when you comment on a video, it actually helps the person. So there you go. Let's see. I don't know what Arizona is. You know what? I'm going to have to call my angriest friend in America and I'll ask her because she come on, seriously, how many of you have the angriest friend in America? We all do. That person who's so demanding, but like, and there are moments when we go, why are they in my life? But we love them. Like we just can't, in a funny way, their anger is humorous. I don't know. I find her anger funny because it's just like, it doesn't, you know, I can warn people about her, right? I know. Yes, Black Rose 11, thank you so much. Jordan Collins, great. Good news. Got an offer on the spot. Yes. Okay. What if I'm that person? Oh, Minnow, you're hysterical. So you are, you know, then you probably have a lot of friends because you know what happens with people if you're the angriest person in America for your friends? Everybody takes care of you. They make sure you have your beer. They make sure you have this. Because they love you. And so you may be irascible, impossible, but they just know that you are so valuable. And so it's kind of like having a cranky friend is what I'm saying. And like, she's totally cranky and I just love her. And I also love her because I can call her at 5 a.m. and go, and she's that person for me. You know, when my father was dying and he had been rushed to the hospital on New Year's Day, she was the one who stayed up all night with me, got me to the airport, got me cash out of a cash machine because I was too mocus, and, you know, took care of my dog for the month. I mean, those are the people, by the way, that will go to the mat for you. And those are the friends you don't ever want to let go of. The people that, you know, just remember that. Sometimes we get pissed at people, but it's so important that we learn how to find our way back to them because there are people that love us. And that's so important that we not forget who they are. I also want to just shout out to Spiritual Solace with Karamia because she is also fab. So thank you for that. Let's see. Arizona is Moon Aquarius. Renee, cool. It's fire. Okay. Arizona's Moon Aquarius and Moon Capricorn. I'm not following that, but oh my gosh, if it is Moon Aquarius, woo, that makes a lot of sense actually. Now, here's the thing about Aquarian men. All right. They're so strange. They're very avant-garde and they don't really care what you think. You know who was an Aquarian? And it's just popping into my head. oh gosh, now my brain stopped working, is, I loved him. Robert Wagner, actor. Um, Ronald Reagan was an Aquarian. We've had a few Aquarian presidents. I did that one night. I sat up because like I've got nothing to do. And I sat up, I down the rabbit hole, guys. I start to go into like, oh, I wonder what that person's sign is. And then hours later, I'm finding out, that Chris Watts has a moon and such and so, which you guys are reminding me. I just want to pull that up because I know I had his chart. Let's see, I'm Scorpion. Aquarian men are more airy fairy, maybe. Yes. Now, okay, before I forget, that is a good point, Vivian. Aquarians and Leo, Scorpio, and what's opposite Aquarian? My brain stopped working. Aquarian opposes Leo, Scorpio, Taurus. All of those are fixed signs. So they're thick and they're stubborn. My dad was a Taurus. And the thing about it is that no sign is bad. They all just have their own quirks and their own personalities. And when you get used to those personalities, you kind of go, oh, that's what that does. So here's the thing. If you know your rising sign, so let's say, for example, I don't know how many of you know, I love my airy fairy Aquarians. They're brilliant. They're brilliant, and like just so independent at the same time. Like I have an Aquarian friend that when I go somewhere with her, she'll literally, I can't find her. Like if we go to a mall or we've traveled quite a bit together, and I'm like, I wonder where she went. And then I've learned now to go, I'll never find out. I forgot what I was talking about. So there we go. Stubborn. That's right. Okay. I'm the angriest wife. Is that the same thing? Oh, I love that. Who said that? I love that. Oh my God. My ex and hubby are both Aquarians, so I'm weird and weird. Okay, but here's what I want to say, Sassy Ma. If you've got all that Aquarius going on, and I find this to be true, one of the things that happens if you marry your own sign, there's good and bad. All right, let's say challenge. First of all, if you marry your own sign, you better like yourself because you're going to see all of your flaws right in front of you. And you're also going to see all of your cool stuff, all the things like for me with a Sag, it's like, I'm like, oh, I just want to go to Europe. And I'm like, come on. And I'll like, say to a friend of mine, let's go. And this was back when, in like the 90s. And I was like, and my friend was like, you want to go? I go, yeah, let's go. And we went. So that's kind of the coolness of Sag, is we'll just go, yeah, let's do it. So your sign, whatever sign you are, if you're in relationship with the same sign, that will be a reflection for you. And anyway, by the way, just so you all know, I have like a huge schedule coming up of lots of radio shows that I'll be doing. And I found out that I can't really broadcast them here because YouTube blocked it because I had apparently music that, because I was playing it live and I wasn't allowed to use the music. And so I'll probably just stream it from either my Facebook page or from my Patreon page. So I'm not sure which is which yet, but we'll figure that out. Okay. All right. Pisces. Let's see. Earth sign Capricorn in the house. Dawn, you make it go on. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Mary's so right. It's like... Yeah, you can't have a party without a Gemini. I'm sorry, and they oppose me, right? So Gemini's like, they're like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, half the time, because they're just so like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm talkative, so you can imagine two Geminis interrupting each other. But excuse me, Gemini and Sag, blah, 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 speaking over. You can't understand anything if there's a Gemini in the room with me, because we're like, yeah, we're shouting over each other. But you know what? Geminis are truly loyal friends, and man, it's like great sign. Love them. Let's see. See, that's the thing. Gemini, but I love Aquarians. Sag. Thing is, remember, what opposes exposes. So when you have the sign opposite to you, so for example, I'm a Sag and my opposite sign is Gemini, right? But remember that Gemini also balances you. So a lot of times you'll see opposites, right? And people go, opposites attract, but like stays together. But the thing is that if you look at like a seesaw, an ebb and flow between those two signs, whatever your opposite is, it's always it's always a wonderful energy when it works. Because here's the thing with astrology that happens, and I'm just going to say this. Let's see, Sun. Oh, Sun in Aquarius, Moon Capricorn. Did you mean, Renee, just tell us, clarify, do you mean Arizona? Because if so, I'm moving there. I knew I loved Arizona for a reason. Let's see. Okay, Humanal said something interesting. I was born a Taurus, 30th April, but I was 2 weeks late. Phil Moore's Gemini, is that possible? I'm always torn two ways. All right, here's what I'm going to say about that. I just did, actually, you know who I looked up? You guys are going to laugh because I was talking to him right after a broadcast. We were setting up our plans for New York, Duty Ron, right? And he, but for those of you that don't know, he's a retired New York detective, fabulous guy, has a great YouTube channel. Please check it out. He just does a lot of interesting broadcasts about crime, and he knows his stuff, so obviously, so it's interesting. But it was really funny. He had the same response because everybody always told him he was one sign, and we discovered he was another. Because sometimes in the dates and stuff, you could say, well, the 21st is the cutoff, but you know, planets don't go by cutoff. They go by when they're moving. And we've had so much earth shift. That's what's going on. So let's talk. I want to get back a little bit to some of the crime stuff, just a little bit, and I'll come back to astrology. And maybe I can do just a specific thing about that. But the reason I brought all this up is that one of the things that it hit me as is that I wondered, and I'm curious if there are other astrologers out there also who would have thoughts on this, about how, first of all, there are books on serial killers and their astrological signs, and I would really like to do some interesting stuff on that. The other thing that I find when I look at killers' charts, I find that sometimes, particularly with serial killers, there are certain aspects, but I'd have to look at the charts to talk about it. And I think what I'd like to do is just put them up at some point and like discuss them, because I think it's very interesting. I remember at one point looking at Ted Bundy's chart and going, oh my gosh. And they can be very, very scary just when you even look at it. Forgive me because I can't see. I'm not looking at the feed. But the thing is that I wonder, people often say that more crimes happen on the full moon, right? Now, something you may or may not know, if you want to know what astrological sign a full moon is in, the full moon always happens it is always the opposite of where the sun is at that time. So in English, what I mean is, so when the month of December comes along and we've got a Sagittarius sun sign, right? Because we know it's kind of mid-November to mid-December. Remember I said what opposes exposes? That means the full moon is coming up and shining light. So the full moon always opposes the sun sign. So as the planets move, you've got like Aquarius sun is always going to have that moon, all right, in Leo. So that's why when I was looking at the time that Shanann was murdered, it was interesting because my sense is that it was a sun Leo, right, at that time. But I have to look up and see more of where the planets were, because I really haven't done enough of that work, you know, to really kind of get solid about it. But because what I really wanted to tell you was that how I discovered that, oh my gosh, Colorado is Capricorn, Shanann's Capricorn, and you would think that it would be a very good place, a very protective place, right? But keep in mind that not only was Saturn in it and Pluto, that is kind of like an everlasting energy. It kind of comes out and it's like, whoa. So in some ways, it is an eternal experience. And I'm not surprised. I don't know about all of you, but I was not surprised when I heard and watched Sandy Rushek talking about her visitation with Shanann and the girls and her own faith. And you know what? And her intuition. You know, a lot of times I find that people that are And my mom was like this. My mom was Roman Catholic. I mean, and my dad like was raised Orthodox Jew. So it's kind of like, but one of the things I want to say about that is my mom was extremely intuitive. And I wonder sometimes if that comes from some of that, some of the Catholic Church stuff, all of the angels. And there's a lot of, I want to say, I just, like, energetically, I just heard my mom go, it's pomp and circumstance. Oh, okay. There's a lot of show. All right. And of course, my dad was an actor. So it's, let's see. You know what, guys? Today, how funny, we're talking about Duty-Ron. Today is his birthday. Is that so? Happy birthday, Crispy. Oh no, tomorrow. It's the 21st. I think it's tomorrow. Is the full moon tomorrow, Mary? Yep, there you go. Kyan Daniels said, and Kyan said, and praying to each saint for various things. Natty Bats, good to see you. Yes. Oh my gosh, my mother had so many sayings. She would come in and go, okay, you can't find it, turn the cup upside down, call St. Anthony. I was like, okay, Mom, like she had 100 different saints to call on. And we would walk in the church, we would walk by somebody, she'd go, don't look, that's Sister Teresa. She's like, I'm like, who's that? Like, so there were like different saints, and it was just really funny, like all of the almost more like, I want to say, what's the right word, like talismans than any of the other stuff I do. I mean, there's more talismans there in some ways. My mother was an Aquarian. My dad was a Taurus, and I was very I think in some ways I was very lucky that I had, and my mother was an Aquarian alcoholic. So you just do that math and you could figure it all out. It was crazy. My dad, the bull, Taurus, so there you go. There was something I wanted to say also, and I think this is kind of important to mention, that this week in particular, all of the Catholic churches burning, and Duty-Ron covered that quite a bit, so I don't necessarily want to go into that, in detail. But there's a lot of things that have come to fruition or conclusion now. The Mueller investigation, the findings of that investigation. So many things, and I'm trying, my brain is like wrapping around it. A lot of people, a lot of the crimes that were old school are coming back. And when I talk about that, remember what I said about Jupiter in retrograde. And it's in retrograde, I think, through August. It's got a long retrograde this time. One of the things that's very important is that people often say, don't sign contracts in retrograde. Well, I don't know that that's necessarily true. For example, if you're buying something that's secondhand, it's kind of like coming around again. A retrograde being a very good time to sign. So, we have to watch what signs they're in and things like that. So don't always follow what people tell you about, that kind of stuff. So, but there was something, do you guys mind if I talk about the Menendez brothers? Do you guys mind? I just really, I've got to tell you guys this because, all right, they have discovered, and I'm going to talk about this in the video I do. Okay, good. First of all, I need to let you all know, two things before I get into the Menendez thing. First of all, y'all know that I'm psychic. I'm going to admit it. I'm coming out. Like, this is like me coming out of the closet. And, when I say I'm psychic, I don't walk up to people in the grocery store and go, can I tell you a message? That's not my jam. Like, I never wanted this gift. It wasn't something I had planned on. I didn't wake up one day and go, I want to be psychic. I didn't expect this to happen to me. I always felt the gift of prophecy is to be honored. And that was always how I felt about it. So I really asked to use it for healing and for my writing and for my communication skills. And that is how I use it. Okay. So some people will go and they'll put out a crystal ball, right? So that's my thing. I don't do that. I love cards because they have stories and I love going deeper. I don't think the answer to our life is on the surface. Let's talk Menendez, and then yes, I'm gonna talk about some racial stuff that's really interesting that I think is on the verge of changing, which I'm fascinated by. Okay, so Menendez. Here's the thing I felt from the time I was very little, and I need to share this with all of you. I'm trying to think 20 or something. I don't remember how old I was, but I remember like being very invested emotionally in the feeling, and that was when my intuition really, I always felt they were abused. I felt it energetically. I could see it in them. They had become bullies at school. They were starting some petty crimes. And these are like rich kids from Beverly Hills. I mean, ultimately they were Beverly Hills, but they were Calabasas before that. So the thing I want to say, and the reason I'm sharing this is because if you look at, and I'm going to challenge all of you to do this, there's a little, like, you know, the little thumbnail that I put up for the Menendez case thing, and you can see I put it up. How many of you can see, and you can go look at that image right now, how many of you can see where Jose's hand is on his son? His 7-year-old son, the son is on his lap. How many of you can see that? I'm going to see if I can find that image as I'm talking to you. I'm just typing it in. And, you know, and there's other information here too that I'm going to give you. I just want to look for this particular picture. And if I can find it, I'm going to bring it up and then I can share it with y'all. So here it is. Here it is. I found it right away. Perfect. Okay. Let's see how big I can make it. All right, so this is the image. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on, here we go. Okay, good. I don't know if I can share it though. I'm trying to think of, I think I can. I think I can. Let's see if I can share. I always forget how to do it. Is it down here? No. I don't know how to share the screen. Thank you, Michelle, for the super chat. Do you see it, Lonnie? Gross, right? Okay, let me see if I can find the picture. Okay, cool. Let me look at this. And I don't know how to go over to it. I forgot. I know I have to let you guys view it, and I forget how to do it. Let's see. There we go. I just unmuted you. My dad was an alcoholic Aquarius, and I'm Aquarius. Isn't that funny? Like, I think that Aquarians are in many ways very advanced people, and it's very hard for them to be on this planet. I hate to say that. Isn't that a nasty picture, Dawn? Okay, so when you look at, okay, I'm really going to try and, I think if I can, I forget how they do it. Oh, I don't, let me just, no, that was me trying to take a picture. Okay. The thing that is in this picture, and I know what I can do. I'm going to put this link up to this, and you guys can look at it as we're sharing here. This is the link of the Daily Mail picture. All right. So just check out that image. Yeah, there it is. I just posted it. Meta's guy. Okay. I want you to see that picture because look at where his father's hand is over the boy's crotch, right? Exactly. Exactly. Do you see it? I know, I'm getting truth bumps. What's happening is the father has his hand on the little boy's crotch, and the little boy has his hand here, like as if to try and get off me, daddy. Right? Thank you. I don't know who said I saw that and it creeped me out. I'm getting truth bumps. This is what I want to tell you. There are tons of pictures like this. I started making the thumbnails as I talk about the Menendez brothers with those pictures. So you're going to see there's that picture and there's another picture on the thumbnail. Just don't take my word for it. Like, go ahead and Google Menendez brothers and then look up images, and it's right there. I mean, you know, I know, isn't that crazy? Exactly, Stacy. Right, Jenny? Mm-hmm. Jennifer got it. Yeah, exactly. I know you're about to hurl, right? Cupping a privates like he owns it. Ivy Lynn, truth, truth, truth. This is what I'm saying. Those boys were abused from the time they were children. And you know, I'm going to just say this. How many of us get to kill our abusers? And I'm really starting to believe, and I don't ever, I'm not saying murder's right. Okay, please don't think that's what I'm saying. Because they murdered their parents, I get that. But what I'm saying is Chris Watts murdered his abuser because Shanann was a healthier version of Cindy Watts. So when we look at this and we look at the rage that's coming through, you know, is it any wonder that that this is going on? Because these boys, how the hell were they going to get out? They were, not only were they cut out of the will, but one of them got into, and we know how hard it is to get into UCLA, got in without being the payoff. I know, Jenny, isn't it sad? I know, I noticed the little boy's rejection even before I saw the father. And see, Cindy's an Aries. Cindy Watts is an Aries. Makes sense. I love Aries, though. I always think they're fun. Let's see. See, that's what I'm trying to say, is that, oh, I'm sorry, Renee, the image, let me see if I can post it again. Yeah, there it is. Okay, that's the, I put the link up a little earlier, but the scroll is happening. Exactly. What is it, Megas guy? Megas guy, I don't know. But anyway, the point is, it is disturbing. And this is what I'm trying to say to you, is that their first trial, okay, was a hung jury because they were talking about their abuse. And I'm telling you, when I